Hey everybody, Jim Powers with SBLiveMissouri.com, and it's great to have everybody joining us on Championship Week here in the state of Missouri as we catch up with some of the great coaches and a team that we haven't seen in a little bit making their trip back to the state championship. It's Smithville and their head coach, Jason Ambroson. And Coach, first off, congratulations on a great season. And, it's been great watching you guys from my side of the state if you traversed throughout the year. But let's talk about the season first, and then we'll get into that just unbelievable semifinal game last weekend.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me. And yeah, it's been a great year. I got a great group of kids.
The season you guys have run the table, but you've had some games where you've been pushed a little bit, and especially getting into the playoffs, and especially in Class 4 with so many great teams that were left standing going into the quarterfinals and the semifinals. Kind of talk about your kids and talk about how they made their way through, especially this stretch run over the last 3 weeks.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with our conference scheduling. I mean, we play a lot of really good Class 5 schools. When you're looking at Grain Valley, you're looking at Platte County, you're looking at Raytown. I know, and then the other Class 4 schools that we do play within our league, are good football teams that have a lot of athletes, and so they're well coached. And so I think that prepares us. And then getting into the playoffs, especially with Lincoln Prep being there and MICDS being there, and Excelsior, who's right down the road from us, and Kearney, who's got a great tradition. I mean, when you look at Kearney, Excelsior, Lincoln Prep, MICDS, I mean, we've been tested. We've been tested by great tradition-rich programs that have great coaches. And a lot of them have done different things. Kearney was different than Excelsior. Excelsior was different. Then Lincoln Prep was a little bit different. And then MICDS was different. So we've had to keep challenging our kids week in and week out. And everything's posed a big deal for us, a big challenge for us. And I think playing really good competition early in the year and then being able to play down the road. I mean, gosh, Excelsior Springs for the last however many years has won 7, 8, 9 ball games. There was years that our district with Platte County, Kearney, us, Lafayette, Excelsior Springs, you're talking about 6 teams with 8 wins or more and played each other. So it's very good competition. And I think that helped us be prepared. And our kids have obviously met the challenge and rose to it as the games have come along. And it's just been a tribute to our kids. And I've got a great coaching staff that prepares them as well.
Let's talk about MICDS and that game. And I was watching that game. I was actually out in Columbia getting ready for the Class 6 game, and I'm sat and just kept watching. And I don't know what you said to your kids at the end of the third quarter to, get them in the right direction to, make that terrific fourth quarter comeback. But talk just a little bit about that, how you guys got down early, but then all of a sudden found your footing and was able to do some unbelievable things in that fourth quarter to get away with the semifinal victory.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that factored into it. I think number one, MICDS took away the run game, so we had to throw it a little bit more. The nice thing about it is that we weren't playing horribly offensively, and honestly, we weren't playing horribly defensively either. We did get 3 turnovers in that game that we did not get. There was an interception that was nullified, and there was 2 fumbles that were nullified as well. So defensively, we did get some turnovers that could have really changed the game. The thing that I think was important about it was MICDS was a great football team. They're coached very well. They have great players, and they were extremely prepared. They forced us to do some things differently, and we were able to adjust on the fly. But most importantly, even though we did get turnovers that were nullified, and even though we did give up some ground and some big plays, and you got to look at MICDS was playing a great first half. I mean, they were running the ball, they were making big plays. They made 3 big plays in the first half, and so you got to give them credit. And the thing that sticks with me is the fact that never got us down, and we kept playing and kept playing and kept playing. And we talk about it all the time. We don't stop playing until there's 4 zeros on the clock, and then we'll turn around and look at it and we'll see what the score looks like. And our kids embrace that. They look at it that way. And when we were in the locker room, we talked about it at halftime about, guys, they're playing a really good game. We got to be a little bit better. Let's just keep playing and see where it takes us. Started the third quarter, very simple, same thing. Guys, we got 12 minutes, everything you got for 12 minutes. And if you keep doing it, it's one of those things, you keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, you find out what the other team's made of too. And they did that to us. And I think they found out what our medal was. And we did the same thing to them. And I think what it was a tale of 2 halves. And I'm just proud of my kids because they were there with a purpose, and that was to give their best effort, and it worked out in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about your offense, Andrew Hedgeforth has just been terrific for you all year long. Talk a little bit about him and what he brings, not only on the field, but just in the locker room as a team leader.
Well, I think the number one thing, he is an absolute competitor, and he competes in everything. Him and my son are friends, and they play washers together, and they play bags together, and then they're going to win, and that's what they do. And they watch video, and they prepare, they get people motivated. They understand that in order to be here, this didn't happen this year.
Right.
This is years in the making. Being in this position for these kids has been 2 and 3 and 4 years in the making, or even since they were in youth football, loving playing this game so much. So there's a lot of hands that go into this. Andrew, he completes almost 70% of his passes. He's extremely coachable. He prepares very well. He's extremely competitive in the way that he does things. At the same time, he really could care less about his stats. He cares about one stat, and that's winning. And he does the things necessary to make that happen. Against Lincoln Prep, we rushed for almost 300 yards. He threw for 86. All right. Against MICDS, he threw for 372, and he could care less. He had some rushing yards in that game. That was the difference down the stretch. And you know what? He just says, whatever I need to do, let me know. And whatever they're going to take away, we got to try and overcome it. And let's go take what they give us, and let's find ourselves the best opportunity to win. And that's great when you have someone who's so competitive that's also a selfless team guy as well.
I tell you what, though, that throw on that last touchdown pass, I sat in my room and I'm just like, wow, just what a great route. What a great throw. I mean, that play, it was everything from the line, getting their blocks down in pass pro, to the throw, to the catch, to the run to the end zone. I mean, that showed me a lot about your kids, and especially the leadership out on the field.
Agree. But they're a really good group of kids. At the same time, they're very close. I mean, my kids, we kick them out of the parking lot here at night on the weekends and after school because they like hanging out together. And that's a genuine thing. It's not anything but the fact that they love each other, and they like playing together. And that last play, it was a great route by Sam. I mean, Sam stuck his foot in the ground going one way, reversed it and went the other. DB got spun around and turned because it was a great route by Sam. And Andrew put the ball on the money. And you're right, the guys up front, I mean, they protected it up, and they ran a nice twist up front and got their guys moving, and they're really good at that defensively. And it comes down to the fundamental execution. And in that situation, we did it. And in the timeout before that, we were talking about it too. And we were actually kind of laughing a little bit. And we were talking about which one you want to run. And then we asked him, and he says, it's down to 2. And which one do you feel better? And when he made the call with the 1, and Coach McCluskey and they all looked at each other and went, that's it. And we said, we know it's at least going to be a first down, but if we can I said, I know it's going to be a first down, but if you can get it in the end zone, that'd be nice too.
No doubt. All coaches say that. You're looking for the first down, but then, hey, if you get the big play, we're going to take it any day of the week.
We'll take it.
Talk a little bit about your defense and with Gabe Talley, I think, he's been the leader for you guys along with Cody and Dawson. I mean, you're even balanced across your whole defensive front, and the way that your D line really does a great job in letting the play come, but then giving room for your linebackers to be able to do the things that they like to do.
Well, I think we've got a really nice combination. Now, it doesn't hurt you when you've got 10 guys returning on defense from last year. And many of which were sophomores a year ago that are now juniors. So when you're playing seniors and juniors on defense, that helps. But it's not just that. It's about how they do the things that they do and how they work together. And we have a great combination of leadership at every level. We have a great combination of intelligence at every level, and we have a great combination of coachability at every level. And those things really mesh well because they play fast, they play physically, they play downhill, and they complement each other. And they understand how important it is to do your job to make sure the other guy has an opportunity to do his. And again, they could give a rat's about who gets the tackles. They just want to get there and get them on the ground and get off the field. And that's something that playing complementary football we try to do. And they've had a year where they've shut down everybody, and in the last couple of weeks, they've had to give a little bit. And that's not because they're bad, it's because the teams we're playing are really good. And what you can find out is what you've seen in both games is the other team came out and said, we're going to do this and this to attack you. And we had to adjust a little bit, And then the nice part of it was by the second half, we had to figure it out and they had to figure it out. And that's part of being a good football team this time of the year, is getting on the field against somebody you're not familiar with, figuring out what's going on, what their strengths, what their weaknesses are, adapting to what you want to do if you want to continue to go and play on. And our kids have done that, and I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely. Well, you get a big task this weekend against, a really, really good Hannibal team, team that's big. They're physical up front. I know you've had a chance to watch a lot of film. What are some of the things you guys are going to need to do to get the W and bring the state championship back home to Smithville?
Well, they are big. They are physical. They're aggressive on defense, and they're going to get after you offensively. I mean, they've got weapons all over the place. Everybody knows about Aeneas, but he's not the only story. You got great quarterback plays, made some huge throws. You got other running backs and receivers that can make plays. So Aeneas may be one of the best athletes probably in the Midwest, if not the country, from what you see and hear.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got a complementary group that goes with them, and that starts with them being tough and physical and very just tough up front. And I know a little bit about Hannibal, having played them in the past, and they've always been a very tradition-rich program, a very tough group of kids that are going to be physical, and they like to hit. And so we know that about what they're, and at the same time, you're in the state championship game. Everybody here is really, really good. And so what do we have to do? I think it comes down to getting stops on offense or on defense and not giving up big plays, making them earn it, and that's going to be tough to do, but that's a challenge, and that's what we like. We've had challenges after challenges after challenges all year long. And you know what, if you want to get the big trophy, you got to meet the next one. Offensively, we got to take care of football. That's always a goal for us, is loving the football. That's our number one goal. And so we've got to be able to do that. And then I think what else it comes down to is just continuing to play together. What I want more than anything else for my kids is to be able to walk off the field at the end of the year, euphoric and excited instead of dejected, because not very many people get a chance to do that ever. And so to be able to have that opportunity to have everybody walk off the field excited and happy in their last high school football game has been a goal of mine in my entire career. And to be able to have that for our kids would be awesome. And would be, I can't even put it into words. And so we got to go do the things that we can do. And I tell them all the time, hey, it's not who you play, it's how you play. This is what we need to do to be successful. Let's go out and get it done.
The community support is unbelievable for you guys. And, watching the MICDS game and seeing the amount of people that you guys had that traveled the 4+ to get here to St. Louis and to play MICDS, they've just got to be off the charts, crazy excited about playing in the state championship this weekend. Actually,
they're always that way. Our student section is huge. Our student section is loud. And I'm one of those people that most of my time in my career, I never really even knew there was a crowd there. My wife makes fun of me all the time. She goes, "Oh, the crowd was great." And then I'm like, "Oh, there's people there," and because I'm kind of focused in. And there's games this year where our student section was so loud. I was like, "Oh my gravy." And we were up 35 points and they're screaming and stomping and going after it. So I'm going to give that nod to our families and our community. But yeah, we had a lot of people over there. I told Fred, I said, "Man, if you'd play that game at our place, we had 5,000 people there." And that's the truth.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. But I think we probably had about 1,500 over there. And it's just fun, and when I got to see some of the clips of it after the fact, I mean, it was awesome when it happened, but I was still coaching. I was worried about getting kids back and getting the victory formation when we got the pick and all the things that were going on. But when Sam caught that ball, I was worried about, getting the PAT team out there and getting the kids under control and not getting a penalty and having to kick it from farther back. And so I never really got a chance to enjoy it. Then when I got to see some of the snaps, like Harold Coons put one out and a parent of ours, and then I saw and I heard the crowd erupt. And I was just like, oh my goodness. I mean, it makes my skin crawl even now. It gives me chicken skin, And I guess when it's all said and done, that's awesome for our football team and awesome for our kids from their resiliency and just their toughness. At the same time, there's a football team, a bunch of coaches, and a whole crowd of people that have a memory that will last with them for the rest of their life. And that's what coaching to me is about giving memories and opportunities to kids that will carry them through the tough times, make them smile when somebody brings something up, those kind of things. That's what really matters.
And that's what high school sports is all about.
Yeah.
You've been around the block. I've been around the block as a coach. And now on the media side, that's what it's all about, is making memories that these kids are never, ever going to forget. And, with different things, the community support, the school support and all that, it all builds into the same thing for the experience for the student athletes.
I agree. And it's not just student athlete. I want it for the band. I'm so excited our band's coming down. I'm excited our cheer team and dance team are going to be there because they're a big part of what we do here.
Right.
You know, when I was here, when I first got here, I said, we got 900 kids in this school. I want every one of them to understand this isn't the football stadium. This is the high school stadium. And I want everybody out here. And between our band and our dance team and the student body and the cheerleaders and the football team with having 100 members on it, you know, we're pretty close to having 900 kids in this high school involved in that game on Friday night. There's a few that aren't there. We got to get them. We got to get them ready for next year, you know. But I think that's important because I just think being a part of something and having those roots and understanding that you belong is important for every kid. And there's a lot of kids that belong. They're part of our group, and we appreciate every single one of them. Trust me.
Outstanding. Well, Jason, I appreciate the time. I know it's crazy busy and all that, but I appreciate the time and can't wait to see you guys not on film, but in person this weekend out at Faroe Field. It's going to be a great game, a great atmosphere, and I'm excited for you guys.
I'm excited too. I'm excited for Hannibal's kids. I'm excited for our kids. I know those guys, and you know, I think it's going to be great. And it's sad that someone's going to have to lose, but it's going to be an awesome opportunity for our kids to go prove themselves. And you know what a great thing high school athletics is all about.
Outstanding. We'll have safe travels to Columbia, and we'll see you this weekend over at Faroe Field.
Thank you, Jim. Have a great one. Travel safe.
You
God
too,
bless.
my friend. Jason Ambroson, the head coach from Smithville, joins us once again. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage on sblive.com, the Missouri page, of all the great games this weekend and everything else going on around the state when it comes to high school sports. Thanks so much.